This is the July 3rd meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I trust all the members of the board have received our agenda. And the first issue is the approval of minutes. 23 meeting. Is there a motion, or do they need to be amended?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now, members of the board, next on our agenda is the election of a chairman and vice chairman. We have members absent, but it's the pleasure of you all. I will not make the determination. I don't think it's appropriate as to whether or not we should go ahead and vote tonight or wait until we have, I guess, our fifth member.
I have no problem waiting for the fifth member.
Okay.
That's what you would.
All right. So is there a motion to continue the determination of item 2, the election of chairman and vice chairman?
I make a motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next on the agenda is 201 West Street, requesting a variance from required setbacks. Now, for the record, as I understand it, Mary, the 21 Jefferson Street request for a variance that was in, I think, the public hearing notice has been requested to be postponed until August. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that will be postponed. So what we have is the issue of 201 West Street requesting a variance from required setbacks.
It's
204. Thank you. 204. I got to get my other glasses. Bob, you should have punched me. He would have did it instead. I apologize. 204 West Street requesting a variance from the required setback. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative here? Yes, come up if you will. Will you stand, please, and each of you, if you're going to be sworn in, you do raise your right hand. Yeah. You do solemnly declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you'll give before this board is the truth. Okay, for the record, please state your name and address.
I'm Daniel Moreno Holt, address 305 Monticello Avenue.
Is that microphone on? There should.
Daniel Moreno Holt, address 305 Monticello Avenue, and I'm the architect for the project.
Okay,
Jordan Palmer Buelos, 204 West Street. I'm the resident.
okay. All right, you may be seated.
Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Baldwin, you are our consultant, and you have provided a memorandum to the board. For the record, Rick Baldwin is a consultant to the planning department in the absence, sadly, of Dave Engelhardt, our planning director, who passed away. And Mr. Baldwin has provided us with a memorandum of consideration. Did you provide, has this been provided to the applicants?
We have reviewed it.
You have it, okay? And Mr. Baldwin, it was our tradition, if you don't mind, that Mr. Engelhardt would just brief us on what the application is, or do you just want to stand on what you gave us, or would you like to make an introduction?
Mr. Chairman,
Come up if you will.
if it's acceptable to you, I would like to stand on what was submitted, but certainly answer any questions you have.
Okay, so and your memorandum is very clear with regard to the thing, and you believe that it's adequate for the board to allow the applicants to proceed?
Certainly.
Okay, all right. Rick, do this, raise your right hand. Well, no, you don't have to as a consultant, I'm sorry, because you're considered to be a member of the staff, at least for the purpose of advising the board, so I don't think it's appropriate to have you have to be sworn in.
I swear all the time.
Okay, all right. Gentlemen, then, thank you, Rick. You can, oh, well, let me ask the board members before we proceed. Do you have any questions of Mr. Baldwin?
I'm assuming from the recommendation.
Yeah, what do you now, speak up in the, yeah.
The recommendation makes reference to existence of limitation on extension of structure. Is that something will come out in the hearing from the applicant, or is,
I would imagine.
do I need to ask you?
I imagine that's how this evening would proceed. The memo is navigating through the various sections of the town code for what's applicable, and that was one of the applicable sections, that's why I cited.
There, thank you.
All right. Whoever wants to start.
Sure, I'll start.
You can sit down, Rick, if wherever you're comfortable. If you want to.
You can tell us to go to whichever page you wish.
Sure, yeah, why don't we start with the property map there? So the biggest challenge here in providing an addition to this property is because the property is not conforming with the zoning code. It's a pre-existing property that is below the overall lot area that would be required for the zone, as well as the overall width. So it's really difficult for us to get an addition on there in a way that still conforms with the side setbacks. We could do something that would be a very long and narrow addition out the back, that would be possible, but it would really make the internals of the house kind of strange to work with, and it would subdivide the yard in a strange way. And I think that's the result of the narrow width of the lot, which is not conforming with the zoning code.
And I apologize, I didn't mean to ignore our staff over there. But so it is the position that in the event that an addition were requested, which comports with the setbacks, because that's the variance request, that they are asking for a setback from, a variance from the setbacks, that could be considered. Is that correct?
I'm actually going to defer to Rick. He has read much more deeply into this than I have.
Okay, all right. Well, gentlemen, let's hear your presentation, then the board will.
Sure. So other points that we want to make, of course, the house is already encroaching on existing setbacks, or on the setback requirements, and we are increasing the setback with the addition. If you go to the property line, we've pulled the house back by 1 foot from that side setback. Furthermore, we're just proposing a single-story addition. There's already a 6-foot privacy fence on that side of the house. It really would have minimal impact on the neighbor, and the way that the neighbor's house is positioned, we believe that would have minimal impact on their enjoyment of the property.
Both, as well as both of my neighbors are very okay with this plan. I've walked it through them multiple times. I reiterated with both of them last night. I was going to be here today. So just for the flow of the properties, my adjacent properties, everybody is very much on board with it. As he said before, it's a very challenging lot to get an addition on, and I love Berlin, and I love my house, and I want nothing but to increase the value of it and stay here and move forward and grow bigger and stuff like that. So it's hard to find an addition to flow, like he said, floor plan wise and property wise. I don't want to lose all my backyard with a long straight back addition.
Well, well, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
I think that captures it. Yeah, I think you made a point.
Well, let me say for the record that you all are requesting a variance, and under the Berlin Code, section 108, 165, with regard to variances, it says that where by reason of exceptional narrowness, and that's the case here, obviously, you've got a 38-foot wide lot. The literal enforcement of the requirements of this article would involve practical difficulty or would cause unnecessary hardship, unnecessary to carry out the spirit and purpose of the chapter. And the board shall have the power, on specific cases, to authorize such variances that will relieve such hardship. What is your practical difficulty or hardship of building within the required setbacks?
I think as we stated, it's that it's really difficult to get an addition that works well, both for the internals of the house and for the yard itself, given the narrowness of the lot, and the narrowness of the lot is a non-conforming condition.
Well, and thanks to Mr. Baldwin, who, of course, who gave us the memorandum and the documents and all that. As I make it, if you pulled in the bedroom from the side yard 4.2 feet and pulled in, and then you had 18 feet wide to develop a bedroom, you would have your required 8 feet on one side and you would leave 12 feet on the other. So I don't understand, you say you want a third bedroom, that was the purpose of the application. And as and I'm not, and I understand you all are, but I'm not a builder, but an 18-foot wide area and by the way, even with your addition, the rear yard comports with the required rear yard in an R2 of 35 feet, because you're leaving 38. Seems to me you could build an 18-foot wide bedroom in precisely the length that you want it now. And go ahead.
It is a bedroom as well as a screen-in porch, if that has any change in what you're
Well, I
saying.
understand, but are you saying to this board that if we did not let you build a screen porch into a required setback, that would be a hardship or practical difficulty for the use of the property?
I believe that we're saying the hardship is the fact that it's a non-conforming lot to begin with.
Well, but that, I don't want to sound like a lawyer on the other side, because I don't mean to be, but you bought a lot
Yes, sir.
that was 38 feet wide,
Yes, sir.
and you have a home on it,
Yes, sir.
and the home is a usable home. What you are asking the board is to give you a variance based on some kind of practical difficulty or hardship, that you cannot build a third bedroom without the configuration that you have. And it's simply, I simply say that I don't think that's the fact. You can build an 18-foot wide bedroom to the depth that you requested, so the only thing you can't have is your screen porch.
Yes, sir. I understand.
And for the record, as Mr. Baldwin has reminded me, if you replace your screen porch with a patio, as long as it's on the level of the ground, that can be built within a setback. So I guess
Understood.
and I don't mean to be an advocate, but I'm struggling to find where a practical difficulty or, well, there isn't a hardship, but even a practical difficulty, which is a less stringent standard than a hardship. I'm seeking to see something that tells me that there's a practical difficulty with building an 18-foot wide bedroom in the depth that you wanted your third bedroom.
I think we could, we were hoping to get the bedroom and the screen porch. Can we go back to the site plan too?
Yeah, that's key.
I think, I worry too that if we want a bedroom, we want to add a bedroom and a screen porch. If you don't allow us to do that, we can't do it. But I would point out too that if we did do the bedroom as you configured, I think if we wanted to add a screen porch, I think we might then not be able to conform with the rear yard setback requirements. So, we want to add a bedroom and a screen porch. If we can't do that, we can't do that. Maybe the lot's just not big enough, but that's our goal here. And it's difficult to do given the lot.
Right, and I say this, I say it respectfully. But the standard of the code is not what someone, and I don't denigrate your request, but it's not what someone wants to do. It's what someone should be allowed to do within the code, because our refusal to let you comply with your request would create a hardship on the property owner, or a practical difficulty, and I don't want to start sounding like a lawyer, but I am, so I'll apologize, but a practical difficulty is that there is something about the code that denies you the opportunity to provide a building that would otherwise be allowed by the code. So even a practical difficulty is more than what we would like to have. That's where I'm struggling, because we are, now, let me say, there's nothing wrong with your plans. If you were on a wide lot, it would be fine, but you bought the lot knowing that it was a 38-foot wide lot, and the requirements of the code of Berlin are that unless you have some reason, then you are supposed to comply with setbacks.
Understood?
So, any other board questions?
I don't have any questions.
I have a question. Is there a reason why you're not going up?
Well, I mean, there's trees involved with that. I mean, and also none of my neighboring house is a 2-story house, and my other neighbor is a 1-story house, and he sells fig trees. And I mean, going up will cause, it just will not look right coming from the road. Visually, from the visual aspect, and from the curbside aspect, a second story will just not look good on that lot.
I agree, given this, if you look at the elevation of the homes, look at the exterior, I think that's clear. And furthermore, any sort of addition up would still need to conform with that 8-foot side setback, which would mean that addition would then be pulled to the side. It'd be this kind of awkward leaning over structure that would be very complex as well.
Well, would it do that? I mean, would it be there like if he went up?
No.
Because it's
the
an
setback
existing footprint, right?
in the same footprint as the house is
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could-
Oh, you
could
mean
put a
on
second story
the
on?
second story
Yeah.
of the house? Yes, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you could do that.
I'm sorry, I thought you were
Oh.
talking about a second story on condition. I misunderstood. You're
No.
talking about, yeah, no, that's
So he
fine.
could do a second story up if the house is structurally sound to hold a second story.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. I may have spoken too fast. The requirements of the code are that that the structure cannot be extended. Rick, does extended mean going up?
Yes, I don't believe so, sir.
Probably so.
No, I do not believe so. I believe up is fine.
Going up is fine.
Would be my understanding.
Okay.
I think, going up would be, create more of an impediment of the neighbor's use of their own properties than maintaining a 1-foot addition on the rear would,
Okay.
even though.
Any more questions? The board? Anything else you'd like to bring to our attention?
That's it. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Any discussion?
That must have been when I first came in. I wasn't aware. Yeah. Of just how those restrictions apply to this house. But after hearing the discussion and the fact that a bedroom could be built within the setbacks without requiring a variance, and even a patio or an outside area could be constructed at ground level within setbacks, I feel like I can't approve the variance to stick with the code.
Any other discussion, or do you want to make a motion?
I was thinking along the same line as what you said. Could, if you did have a patio, I'm just wondering, could that be enclosed, or would that also not in?
I don't think you can enclose
It
the
could be.
The patio, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it has to be level with it. Yeah,
That's what I was
yeah.
wondering. Okay,
Well, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. There's a motion and a second to deny the variance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Sorry, gentlemen, but please certainly consider what you can do, because the house is a contribution. And if your neighbors have no objection, then certainly, you know, you can,
Move forward with it.
right,
Understood.
yeah. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, the next thing on our agenda is the issue of the scheduling, which is upcoming, with regard to the application time in advance of filing and having advance of the hearings. Is there any comments from the board on that? It is in our agenda. And this is obviously, Mary, for the benefit of the staff to have the ample time to consider applications before they have to get ready for a hearing, and to have discussions with folks to make sure the applications are in order. Is that correct?
Correct. This is, for your purposes, this is really a notification of, more or less a housekeeping item.
Right.
To let you know that we have imposed the deadline of at least 30 days out from the meeting. There is a schedule attached. Right now, we have, particularly with the Board of Appeals, because of advertising requirements, we technically could have someone turning in an application the day before we have to get the advertisement
Can't do
run.
that.
And that simply, it just doesn't work. So we've imposed a 30-day deadline, which gives us more time to review it and perhaps have the applicant make corrections if needed before it ends up having to actually go into a packet.
Right, and we
It's a
appreciate you
time
bringing that
measure.
to our attention. I don't think we have any problem with it, certainly, that we don't have any say, but, and the other thing, in our packet, Mary also provided with us the fact that on Monday night, the mayor and council are going to consider a moratorium, I think, through September, or?
The way the moratorium resolution reads, it's applicable to matters for the planning commission. I will be completely upfront with you that the planning commission does not recommend the moratorium. However, I am making that recommendation.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's up to the mayor and council, and we will, of course, work with whatever they impose.
Right, and I don't intend to say anything, because nobody's going to ask me to say anything. I will attend, and I think that at least until a planning, never mind, I won't say anything.
Well, and I'm sorry, to answer the question you actually asked, yes, the initial moratorium, if approved, would go to September 15th.
Right.
And then the burden would be on the mayor and council to review it each month with the idea of perhaps extending it by another month. That way it's not some ridiculous amount of time, I shouldn't say ridiculous, but an amount of time out into the future. It's very compact and can be renewed rather than extending it for a long time.
Right. So, y'all are welcome to attend, certainly.
Is the moratorium because of the two large projects that are being considered, or?
It is not specifically because of a project, it is simply a matter of staff resources.
Staff reason.
That's as I understood it, because they're just having, Carolyn's being
I don't understand why the planning commission would be opposed to it.
Well, it wasn't a matter of opposed as much as they felt that with the 30-day filing deadline, that was providing additional time, and they felt like they could continue to work with it. It really is more of a staffing concern.
Mary, if it's just planning, so if somebody had a zoning issue, that would still go through
Correct.
with the times that are
Correct,
listed?
yes.
Okay.
And I will say, and again, just a comment, when I saw the moratorium, I looked in, there's a book that is kind of the zoning Bible, it's Abrams on zoning, and moratoriums have been accepted by the Court of, now the Maryland Supreme Court, used to be the Court of Appeals, if there is a beneficial purpose for it, rather than just a taking, where you're denying someone the use of their property. And certainly a moratorium with a date that is set, rather than just an infinite moratorium, is certainly something that could be considered. So, okay, is there anything else that anyone wants to bring? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, second. Thank you all for coming.
When is the meeting for this one?
We'll go over this real quick just before we leave for the night.
For Jefferson?
Yeah.
It'll be,
Did you have a good trip?
our-
I mean, I know, it's, but you had a